Should you charge for your consultations?
You are watching 720 System Strategies, the #1 YouTube channel for bankruptcy attorneys, hosted by Philip Tirone.
The free bankruptcy consultation has been around forever. Most attorneys use it. Most people use this. Hey, talk to us for free to see if we qualify. What we're seeing now, and I had multiple conversations like this at NACPA, with lead flow increasing, filings increasing, smaller boutique firms are saying, hey, I don't want to talk to everybody. I don't want to give my time away. I want to charge for my initial consultation. And if people want to hire me from there, they can choose to do so. You're about to hear from Jay Perez, one of our longtime friends here at 720, who's done just that for the last 2 years. He runs a boutique firm in Indianapolis, 10, 12 filings a month. But what this has done is it lowered his complexity and increases profitability.
I've been charging since the beginning of 2024, and it has gone really, really well. I charge $99 for the initial appointment, which I have rebranded. It's not a consultation, it's a debt strategy session. And the idea is that the client's not just getting a sales pitch from me, right? They are meeting with me to discuss how can we solve their problem. It's not about, are they going to file a 7 or a 13? We'll get there if that's the solution that is the best approach for their situation.
Mm-hmm.
But the initial evaluation is to figure out what's the best way to solve their problem. If they've got debts, is it going to be a bankruptcy? Is it going to be refinancing their mortgage? Is it selling their house? What's the best solution? Are they judgment proof and they don't need to do anything? All of those are potential options. We'll talk about what debt settlement, how that works and why it doesn't work. We'll talk about all of the different options. And then they sort of come to the conclusion that bankruptcy may be their best solution. If it is, and if so, then I'll recommend that. And then we can get into the specifics of how we can help with bankruptcy.
So Jay, that's fast. This is fascinating. And it's interesting because more people are talking about this. I have not found anyone who's been doing it as long as you have. So I want to take us back to the beginning. So when you came across this idea, there had to be some fear in you, like thinking, oh my gosh, like I've been offering the free consultation for so many years and now I'm charging. Well, what was going through your head back then?
Yeah. I came from a large national bankruptcy practice. That's where I sharpened my teeth as a brand new lawyer from 2007 to 2013, doing high volume bankruptcies. And of course, it was a free consultation, and every appointment was a sales call about how they're going to hire the firm today, right? And a lot of high pressure sales. So I come from that background, started my own practice in 2013 with my wife, Cassie. And for the first 10 years, we sort of just followed the same model, free consultation. Of course, you got to give it away for free or the clients weren't going to want to schedule an appointment. And I came across this idea, shout out to Jen Lee, who has a video called Free is the New F Word. And it's just all about how we give away way too much of our time as bankruptcy lawyers, answering questions and giving information that is our product, right? The advice and information that we give is our product, and we ought to be charging appropriately for it. And so I said, you know what, let's give it a try. She charges for her consultations. I was like, I'm going to try that too. So stole the phrase debt strategy session as well, and said I'm going to try it at $99, and going great from there. We're 2.25 years in already, and it's only helped our business.
So when you rolled it out, like, was there immediately drop off? Were you noticeably like, oh wow, like what am I doing? Like, oh my God, I have free time now. Did you notice that? Like, did you?
Yes.
Yeah.
There was some fear, right? So
Right.
obviously jumping off that cliff and just trying it was a huge fear for me. It's my livelihood, right? Like this is where our family gets all of our money from, is this business, right? So we can't play around with it too much. Plus, we have an employee that we're responsible for to make sure she's getting paid, and so it was scary. And then there was a few appointments set, and then kind of a slow period. Started at January 1. If for all of our people watching this are mostly bankruptcy attorneys, and you guys know that there's usually a rush right after January 1 where people are wanting to file bankruptcy. And then that it's just like the gym, right? That first couple of weeks, it's really busy. And then there's a little bit of a drop off before things start picking back up again with tax season. And it is probably just that. But of course, I tied it to it's because I'm charging, and it really scared the crap out of me.
How many did you file like in 2023? Do you remember those numbers?
Yeah, so 2023, I filed like 120 cases, 130 cases, somewhere in that range.
Mhm.
2024, the first year, it did slow down as far as filings too. We were down to less than 100 that. So we lost about 20% of the filing volume
Mhm.
initially, right? Now, what I did in connection with the charging for the appointments is I was able to raise my fees.
Okay.
So to me, the charge for the appointment isn't even so much about that $99,
Mhm.
right? I'm still charging under my normal hourly rate. It's not like that
Yeah, I mean, of
$99
course,
is that
$99, it's more of like a proxy to see is someone willing to pay to talk to me, right?
exactly. And what it does
Mhm.
is it filters out the tire kickers. It filters out the people that are just looking for calling around to see which is the cheapest bankruptcy lawyer.
Okay.
It filters out all of those people, the people that don't value your time in the first place.
Mhm.
And so what you end up with are people that do value your time. That are, if they're willing to pay $99 to meet with you one time, then they're going to be willing to pay your attorney fee to file the bankruptcy case too. So you kind of filter out that clientele that probably was never going to
Absolutely.
pay you in the long run anyway. Yeah, they were going to sign a contract and promise to pay you money, but they weren't actually going to down the road.
So what were you charging for your 7s? Obviously, your 13s are no look fee in 2023 before the move.
Before that, I was probably charging on average about $1,400 a case for attorney fees for Chapter 7. And immediately, I kind of kicked it up right away to
Mhm.
some extent into like the 1,700 range. Now I'm rarely doing a case under 2,300.
So let's talk some stats because I know you brought those for us. Then thank you for doing that. Moving from 2023 to 2024, you had 20% less filings, but you increased your fees, right?
Correct.
Which
Correct.
obviously increases the profitability.
Increase the profitability. In fact, right away, 2024, we were about 60% higher profit than 23.
I mean, how much time per day are you saving from like these free calls, right?
Yes. Right. That's
Yeah.
the thing. It's like I was spending my entire day just meeting with people. Well, half the time I was scheduling an hour for somebody who wasn't going to show up, right? For the free consultation because if there's no skin in the game,
We've lived it.
yeah,
We've everyone on who's watching this video has lived that and appreciates that,
right.
right?
I would
You
say over the last 2 years, I can count on my 10 fingers the number of people that have just no-showed their appointment.
because of that show, right? We do the same thing with our long form consults. We were having a hard time. We spend 30 minutes with the person, and then we set up what we call as a signing appointment for the attorney. And before we collected a debit card, and we call it a $50, no show fee. I mean, our no show rate was like 50%. And now it's like, it's less than 10, but still, I mean, it is a different dynamic what you're proposing here. So year one, 60% increase filing. In 2025, what were your numbers?
2025, another 23% increase in profit from the year before. And then 2026, we're projecting another 23% above last year, right? So it's just been a continuous growth. Now, some of that has to do with filings are picking up
Of
overall,
course.
right? More people are looking for bankruptcy attorneys than were a couple of years ago. But by adding this piece, and increasing my fees and charging for the initial appointment, I'm just basically maintaining or growing the number of cases that I file overall.
Yeah, right.
So I'm maintaining a reasonable work volume that so I'm not overwhelmed. I don't have to run out and hire more staff right away. I can still make more money by charging more for my time, essentially, for the time that I am investing in
Profitability, it's all about the profits. I mean, it is
exactly.
about the profits. So let's unpack what we talked about. You mentioned it earlier, but let's unpack this free consultation sales call because a free consultation it's a conversation about bankruptcy and how bankruptcy can help. You call it a debt
Strategy.
strategy call? Okay, debt strategy call. So let's contrast the two. How did your conversation change? You have a 45 minutes scheduled. Does it typically take 45 minutes?
I usually use most of the time. If the client decides on the spot that they're gonna hire us, then we also go through our contract and other process. So payment scheduling and stuff like that. So that usually uses the rest of the 45
Mhm.
minutes if we didn't use it all for actual legal discussion about their options, right? But usually at least 30 minutes. We go through all of their information. We go through their assets, their income, their expenses. That's the walk. I walk them through what Chapter 7 means, how it works, why they qualify for it. Everybody kind of does their consultation a little bit differently, and I've come to learn this, that I this is how I've been doing my consultations back when they were free, right? This is essentially what I did anyway. I went through the whole legal analysis with the client. I explained the legal stuff to them so that they actually understood why they don't qualify for a 7. I've seen that some attorneys don't, right? Some of them are just like look over the facts and they're like, "You're a 13. Here's how much it's going to cost. Do you want to hire?" Right? And so the conversation is, yeah, there's a little bit of legal analysis in there, but they're not necessarily sharing that legal analysis with the client. The client's just told this is the outcome and this is how much it costs. Do you want to move forward and hire me? So it is more of a sales call where I go through the whole analysis. I explain it to the client. If by the end of the appointment, the client doesn't understand why they don't qualify for a 7, then I haven't done my job. There's real legal analysis going on. So I feel like that's makes it appropriate to charge a fee for it.
But I mean,
But
and the reality is like, that this is what normal attorney, this is what you did before you mentioned, right? I mean, this is the same basic stuff. Is it tinted differently? Like, do you feel like you're counseling as opposed to sailing, if you know what I'm talking about?
absolutely, absolutely, because there are a good number, I don't say a good number, maybe 20% of the people I meet with, bankruptcy would work. I could get them into a bankruptcy that could work, but I can see another solution that also works, right? This is give me a good example. We've got a terrible homestead exemption in Indiana. So if you've got any more than 20 grand of equity in your house, you're going to have an issue with filing a 7. So you probably need a 13. And there's some people whose income isn't high enough to support what they would need to pay in that 13. And so they're kind of stuck, right? They don't have enough income. They've got too much home equity. Yeah, I could file them a 13, but eventually it's probably going to get dismissed because they're not going to be able to make those payments. So we have that conversation from the beginning, right? Before they've ever hired me for an actual bankruptcy. Do you really want it? Can you really do this? If
Right.
if you can get more income, sure. But right now, yeah, maybe a 7 could work. Maybe you don't need a bankruptcy at all because you can sell your house pretty well. Just go hire a realtor and you don't need me to hire me at all. Or maybe the only way you're going to make this work is if you refinance your house and you can roll this 10 grand of credit cards into your mortgage. Not a great idea long term. It's going to cost you more, but it's the only way you can afford to stay in your house. So might be the best option. That's counseling. That's not selling them on bankruptcy, right? That's actually selling them on not hiring me.
Right.
But for that hour, I'm their lawyer, and it's my responsibility to tell them what's best for them. They've paid me for that hour, and I'm their lawyer for that hour. After that, if they don't hire me further, then the representation's over. But for that 45 minutes, I'm their attorney.
What percentage of the time do people hire you versus not hire you? I mean, is it 20%, or would you say, is it?
I mean, we probably, I haven't run good up to date statistics on this as to where we are with people hiring past the initial appointment. I would say probably we're in the like 60 to 70% of the people I meet with hire me either on the spot or within a week. They might not be 100% ready to commit that day, but we schedule a follow up and then they hire me at the follow up.
Got it. And you obviously don't charge for the follow-up, right?
I don't charge for the follow-up
No,
as
of
long as
course
it's within a month. I
Yeah.
give them a month to make a final decision.
Okay.
More than a month passes, they need to go through the whole analysis again, see if things have changed. But
Okay.
with I give them 30 days. If they want to hire me within the 30 days, I'll honor the fees I quoted at the initial appointment, and then I don't charge them for that follow-up. It's 10-minute follow-up,
Yeah.
15 minutes
Yeah,
because it's
no,
just
totally. No, no, I
Yeah.
agree. I'm just asking a bunch of questions. Do you
Mhm.
credit the $99 towards the bankruptcy or not? Is
Yeah,
$99 a standalone?
I get that question a lot from clients, and I currently don't, and I'm thinking about maybe I should
Uh,
as an incentive to hire me on the spot, right?
yeah.
I think what I would do if I was gonna do it, is I would say, "Yeah, if you hire us during the appointment, then we'll credit it. If you need a follow-up, if you're not ready today, no problem, but then you don't get that $99 credit."
Yeah.
That would be a way to get over that hump of if you've got a few people that are kind of wishy-washy on whether to hire and you wanna sell them on hiring you,
Mhm.
then that would be a way to do it. I haven't done it because I feel like it comes across as gimmicky, right? Or as, well, I'm just going to charge you an extra $100 when I quote the fees so that then I'm, really collecting an extra 100.
I think it's all in the framing
So I'm
of
afraid.
the why, because like if you said, look, a lot of people come back and that's fine, but that takes more of our time, which, but if you want to do it and, then we credit this because it won't take our time in the future. As long as the client understands the logic behind of it, it doesn't come across cheesy, right?
Sure.
This is
Sure.
why we all hate buying cars. 'Cause they
Yeah.
close without adding value or there's nothing there. It's like, "Huh?"
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that would be interesting to find out, right? If
Mhm.
because if
Mhm.
it did save you on the follow-up, the problem with debtors, they think too much. Like, it's like, "Oh, let me talk to my wife," and then all of a sudden they forget, the dog gets sick, like, whatever, and it just, it's tough.
Yeah.
So do you give anything to the debtor as like a value add upon leaving? Is there any worksheet you give them or anything like that, or
I have a timeline.
Okay.
And I've used this timeline. I've redesigned it a few times, but I've been using it for 15 years. And it's just the steps from today to what all the steps are to get the case being filed and then ultimately the discharge. So it lays it out in a visual format, which a lot of people appreciate, just kind of being able to see what those steps are, knowing what the timelines are. And then we refer back to it throughout the representation.
Oh, you do?
When clients are like, what's my next step? We just resend them their time and draw an arrow. You are here, right? And
Yeah.
you can see the next steps. So our clients are always aware of kind of where they need to be going next because we can keep referring back to that time.
What about the agreement? Do you have them sign a fee agreement for the $99? Is there anything for that, or is it more like just do they pay via Calendly, via your calendar? How's that work?
Yeah, so right now the way we do all of our scheduling through Calendly on our website. So that's another thing that we do differently is they call our office, we actually refer them to the website, which I recognize from a sales perspective is like the last thing you want to do if they're on the phone. But it kind of goes with our mindset that we're not looking after every single client. We want the ones that are committed to sticking with our firm and doing things our way, in a sense. So we send them to the website, but the website, Calendly is on there. They can pick their time that they want to meet. They pay their fee at the booking, and there's a lot of information in the description that kind of lays out what the guidelines are. And then the very next thing, they get taken to a payment screen on LawPay. They can pay their fee, and then they get an email with a link to the intake form. And as part of our intake form, that's where the consultation agreement is that basically lays out what's going to happen during the appointment and what all the terms are and all that.
Will you have the $99 or the debt strategy session if they don't fill out the intake information?
We won't.
Oh,
No,
you won't?
no. So I
So you'll
will. I'll.
contact them and cancel and say,
We
"Look."
reach out to them, keep reminding them, hey, we really need this form. I asked them to do it at least 24 hours before the appointment, if they can. If it's kind of on a shorter time frame where they schedule kind of short notice,
Mhm.
we'll give them some leeway on that. But we try to get them to fill it out as soon as possible. Because I do a lot of prep before I meet with the client. I'll go through that whole intake form. I'll pull up their property on the county assessor. I'll look at Zillow. I'll get values. I'll look at their cars. I'll look at as much information as I can research about them in advance. I already have looked at it, right? Did they have prior bankruptcies? I asked for their social security number. I put that up and put that in Pacer to find out if they have priors. I look at Indiana's got a great local state court docket, so I put their name into the state court docket to see what lawsuits that have been filed. So I've got a lot of additional information beyond what the client gave me in their best efforts already by the time we meet, and then we go through that all together. Yeah, I like to have that in advance so I can have time to do my pre-appointment prep.
That is fantastic. That's great. Boy, you're really providing a lot of value to these debtors. I mean, you got a great heart, Jay. You really do. Thank you for sharing all this. Jay,
Thanks.
so this works, you're doing, 120 cases a year. Would this work with a law firm that wanted to do 250 or 400 cases a year? What's your gut feel on that? After you worked in a large law firm, could you see how that would work? Or is this more for someone like you and your wife that want a highly profitable, like well-oiled machine I mean, you could easily get to 15 a month doing this you don't spend any money on advertising. We chatted about that earlier. I mean,
Mhm.
you got a lot of bandwidth you can grow with. Could this work with a law firm in your opinion?
Yeah, I think it could. I think you do cut out a certain segment of the people interested in filing bankruptcy, right? The people that are just going to look for the cheapest lawyer. They're not going to want to pay for a consultation. If they're just they're calling around every firm and the first question is, how much do you charge for a Chapter 7? That's not my client, right? That's not my ideal person. And that's okay for me. For the high volume practice, that they might want that client, right? If you're one of the race to the bottom on fees lawyers, you need those clients. Those are your bread and butter. For us, it's not who I'm after as a client, and so it works fine for us. I think it could be done at 2, 3 times the size of us. I think when you start getting any bigger than that, you might hit a wall there where you run out of the people that are interested in a little bit more of that boutique experience of, I want the lawyer to actually sit down and explain things to me. If there's somebody that's like already decided that they want Chapter 7 and that's the only thing they're here for, and they're just here to listen to find out how much it costs, that person probably isn't going to go through the paying the fees and doing all that.
Yeah. Yeah, it would be interesting, like the advertising component, because advertising is heavy on the free
Mhm,
consultation, right? That
mhm.
that's an interesting calculus, but something I'm interested in testing. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, yeah.
this is
Trying to
why.
find a way to sell
Yes.
the idea of $99 for an hour with a lawyer, right?
Yeah.
Just that concept of, ask me your questions and I'll answer them and I'll give you all the advice, to a group of people that is short on cash, right? That is a component of being a bankruptcy lawyer. Is all of our clients are short on cash.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's something associated with like, you're not leading with that $99 consequence. You're leading with like, hey, here's what bankruptcy do for you. And then in the reframing and the education after they give us the information, the lead follow up and all that, just changing their mindset and understanding because your clients that come to you, they have this deep relationship with you at this point. I mean, it's like, "Oh, I'll pay $99 because I trust Jay," right? That's very helpful. Jay, anything else come to mind? Anything you wanna say that, like, I missed to ask or anything like that? This has been so valuable. I'm so grateful that you spent the time with us on today.
Yeah, the biggest, my biggest thing with this is, I want everybody who's doing bankruptcy to get paid for the time they're spending doing meeting with clients and talking to people, and not to feel like dejected after a day of meeting with people, right? And this is how I used to feel at the end of a day when I met with 5 people today, and none of them hired me. Oh, that was the worst feeling because it's like, what a waste of time. That's the feeling I came away with after meeting with somebody, or even meeting with somebody who just didn't need me at all, right? Somebody who's judgment proof. And I felt like I didn't really even really help them that much other than tell them that they're judgment proof. And I just spent an hour of time that I could have spent over here doing something else, and it felt like wasted time. And now I never feel that way. In fact, I feel the best after some of the appointments where I told the client not to hire me, because I feel like, well, they sure got a lot of value out of that. I got paid for my time. Granted, maybe a quarter of what I could have gotten paid for my time, but I got paid for my time. And I feel like I brought value to that person. And I helped them and I gave them direction that they maybe weren't going to get anywhere else. And so to me, that is fulfilling. in a way. And so I would just hope that everybody out there would consider doing this in their practice. Whether give it a trial run, maybe do it in some limited fashion. I talked to somebody at a bigger firm that was considering doing this, and they were going to maybe give it a shot with people that they had pre-screened might be Chapter 7 clients. They decided that they really want to focus on 13s, so they kind of feel like they're too busy with 7s, and so they're okay with a few of them going away. So they're going to try trial run where they're going to pre-screen people during an initial call, and then direct them to a paid consultation if they're going to be a 7, a free consultation if they think they're going to be a 13. And yeah, maybe try something like that, a hybrid approach, something that will get your feet wet and see if that works for you. And if it's successful in your practice, it can be really fulfilling to not feel like you've ever wasted time.
Jay Perez and Perez out of Indianapolis, Indiana. Jay, thanks for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.